Well,
I digress.
it's 11 o'clock. We should probably start. So I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you for doing this. Well, let's start with this. Hey, everybody, this is Jamie and Coffee with Jamie. I got to figure out a better tile for this. I'm having too much. Everyone's going to think I've got like the IV in my arm at this point because he's always on it. He's always got coffee. No, I want, this is the writing process. So Life of Fiction presents. Let's calm down, Jamie.
Prevent
Let's
writing.
do this right. I've been saving. My coffee's gone cold. I didn't want to have it without you two. I've missed you both. It feels like we
Put it
haven't
right
talked
without writing.
forever. I know.
I know it does seem like forever.
It does. The last time I really talked with you, Ann, is I think we were doing one of the 2x2s. It feels like months, hasn't it?
It seems like it. Yeah, it was months. And then you guys were doing a 2x2 and you tried to put me in and that was a disaster. The system just like froze up. So this works much better.
But it was fun.
It was funny for you. I was getting like every fifth word going, this is bad.
And you were saying like,
replay.
No, but you were like, wait, I can't turn it on. I have lotion on my hands. That's all I remembered.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was watching you guys and I was putting lotion on and everything was just like, you don't want to touch your phone and then to try to, with my cell phone, I was trying to.
You'll do it once. Yeah. You might do it once, maybe not twice.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be there for you guys.
But, well, it was fun. We just
glad.
Well, we had both just seen. Who was it? Was it DW? Who was I doing it with? I can't remember.
I thought you were doing it with Kummer, weren't you?
Was
was DW maybe?
Was it you and me? I think just me and Kummer just did it ourselves.
Yeah, we made a mess all by ourselves. I think that was
DW. Oh, maybe it was DW. Okay.
But it was fun.
Cool.
But we had both just seen a 2x2. And I was like, wait, they put a third person in. I was like, we can do that? I wonder if we could do it on the fly. He says, who could we get? I'm like, let's grab Ann. And it's her fault that this all started in the first place.
I was really happy to see that there were quite a few 2x2s, and now everyone's catching on and they're doing lives, and that's great. So yeah, it was fun.
Well, I enjoy this because it's the theme, and I love Go Brunch, and I'm just playing with it more. Just mainly because you can make it your own world, and I think this is like unique and fun. Plus, if you scroll down, I won't do this because I'm recording us, but if you scroll down, you'll see all those little round circles. That is each one of that. I think we've got like 82 or 83 people can show up and be here live and watch and have cameras. And what I love about this is that there's no app, there's no updating anything. You just click the link, and if you've got, a camera and you got a mic, you just jump in.
I see the share, but is that share my screen? Is there a way to share it right now on notes so people know we're live?
Probably don't. You can. In fact, if you do something, if you can click on share, the little share that's in between the cam and the record button, that is share with you. So if you click on that, and I'll do this so everyone can see it on the screen, and then you can share this room link. You click on that, and then I'm doing it right now. Everyone, see, that's the other thing I like. Yep, you copy it, you click on the little thing, and then
share your screen or share this room link. Okay,
share this room link. You click on that, and then what happens if you go to another tab, you'll notice that this conversation will make a box off to the side, so you won't stop sharing. We'll continue on. You can work and do other things, and no one will know the difference. Everyone will know if I do it because I'm recording my screen. But you guys can do that, and we'll still be live. So you can share, you and Kummer, you can go ahead and tell people, hey, we're in here live. That'll work.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying.
Totally works. By the way, both of you should test I made the subscribe. I drew those two little pictures last night and did the subscribe.
Good job.
And so they should link. Did they work for you guys? Links? Okay.
Yes.
So everyone that does show up, you look in under Kummer and under Ann, the subscribe, that will take you to their Substack. Want to make sure I promote my friends. Next time we do this, I'll prepare a little bit better. We'll get your guys' books. We'll put the books up because that book there and the
Your
book
book
to
is
the
right
side of
there.
me, those are both live. And if you click on the
Yeah.
mug, you are
Yes.
more than you think you are. You can go buy the mug.
I happen to have one of those books. I'm staring at it on a shelf not far away.
And one of my neighbors has the mug. So yeah. I thought, if they open it without checking who the package is from, they'll see the mug and they'll be, I'm keeping this.
Well, they're going to think that it was a gift to them. It's like, oh, you're so sweet, Anne. Oh,
No.
thank you. You're like, no, gimme.
No, they won't know. They don't know me. I don't know my neighbors. Well, I know a few neighbors, but they're like the street turns, so they're a different address. They didn't get it. It's crazy. Anyway, yeah, I'm hoping a good neighbor brings me my mug.
Well, I'm so glad you guys were willing to do this because I have missed you, and I do want to talk about writing. Actually, I know I wrote the questions down. I know I sent copies to both of you. Unlike normally when we do it on the fly, because I want you to be stressed and have to think on the spot.
Yeah.
I did want
Your
you to think.
questions made me think. I was like, what? How did I answer that? I thought I was reading them too early in the morning. They're so writerly. That's great. But I'm like, I don't know if I'm capable of the answer for this. So yeah, you didn't save me being scared.
Yeah. So I prepped everybody. However, I do want to start by I'm so excited. I've been thinking about this since Kummer sent me the picture of his book. So he got the pre, what do they call it? You got the test copy. And what do they call that?
Proof?
Yeah, the proof.
See it. Oh,
yeah, I know.
Backwards.
Other than the stupid band, I'm so upset about that. It's such a waste.
I'm telling you,
Well, that's what Amazon does.
It's
I know,
the
but they
gray
didn't
band
always.
limited edition.
They've always done that.
I got some that didn't have a band. No, they didn't.
When?
They didn't. Years ago, they didn't do a band. What they would do is they would put in the very last. I guess it's kind of the same thing. See, so like Damoni Van Kill, yeah, the band. Yeah. But what they used to do is they used to just put at the page right, in the very back it says "Made in the USA," with the little it's not a UPS or the barcode, but the page before that used to say not for sale, but it wasn't a band around the cover. So I don't know.
That's as long as I've been doing it, and it's been quite a few years.
But, but Jamie, this means that it's a gray band collector's edition.
There you go. I just threw away a whole bunch of those. Like I had a stack.
Oh, no, I can't
keep those. I mean, they were ones that I proofed them and found stuff, and I changed them. I don't want anyone to see. I mean, I'm really happy.
I would buy something like that. Okay, so Kummer's just made his point. I would buy that, especially if you've got. I sold one of my books where I found and I had an editor go through it, so I got red marks all over it. I did. I sold the book.
Red marks in them. Yeah, sorry, no, I don't want people to see behind.
Someone was like, "No, it's a collectible." You mean reality?
Sure. Collectible. It's a collectible. Yours, maybe, yes. You could learn something from it. I don't think you'd learn anything from mine. Or I'll have to start crossing stuff out and going, don't do this ever again, or something fun. Well, that is something I wanted us to talk about because I saw Scoot yesterday publish something that was brilliant. In notes, he said that rush plus publish equals rubbish. So it's like, is that true? Do you feel rushed to publish your serials? And
sometimes, for me, sometimes I'll see that deadline and I'll just like, some weeks I'm just like, I really want to get that chapter done. I really do. I don't want to make people wait. But then again, there are some weeks I'll just get busy and I'll just kind of lean back on, the immortal words of Douglas Adams of there's nothing sweeter than the sound of a deadline rush swishing by. So
I love that quote.
So but usually, and I like having the weekly deadlines or having that weekly or biweekly deadline. It keeps me honest.
Yeah.
So that I'll go like, and I told one person this. I talked to with one person was they're like, okay, well, do you ever go back and change anything once you've published a chapter? I go, never, absolutely never, never,
Really?
never,
Oh, I
never,
do.
never, 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 because it's. I look at it as back in the day, in the 1930s. You had Max Grant and those guys doing the serials, The Shadow and Doc Savage. They didn't edit those. They edited as best they could. They were done, gone. It was out
Yeah,
there.
but that was usually in a zine, a print. I
I
don't know. I feel like if I found some error, and I've gone back and edited because other people are going to find it. You have to realize that you have. Then I forget who says this. Someone says this all the time that you have new people coming to your stuff all the time.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
why do I want them to find something that I know is wrong? I mean, I'm not I don't do major rewrites unless I turn it into a book because then I feel like it's a book. It needs to be looked at differently than a serial is.
See, for
But yeah, I have
me,
no problem changing something's already posted.
I'll change it if it's like something big, like I misspelled a character's name, things like that. But it's like I won't do big changes. I feel
Yeah.
like it's more honest.
Huh.
I want
Sure.
I
Well, I
want
would definitely
someone
change
to.
a character's name. If his name's Morpheophilius and then I mistook him for Bob, yeah, that would be bad. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
I'll
think what
change things like
I've
that.
changed. I can't think of what I've changed, but I've
uh,
changed a few things.
I think I'm
Yeah,
in
that way.
Sometimes I'll
between.
change like the note that was maybe there because you have to go back to the first thing that you're sending people to and thinking what someone going to think about it today because it's different than what I was thinking about when I first posted it, right?
I just
I,
kind of take it as what I post chapter wise. It's following the character. Is the character wrong? Probably half the time. Yeah. I mean, that's why I write in first person. As I want them to be wrong. I want them to be horribly wrong. I want
I like
them to
that.
be so wrong they're terrified. So, that's
well, I
okay.
haven't noticed anything in yours that you should change. Let me tell you that since I do read yours
Yeah,
religiously. So
Well,
I
thank you.
second
I
that.
do my best. But I kind of look at it as it's a sign because I've written some really bad things. Some are just like I look at it now and like that's awful. But it was where I was at that point in time
mhm.
because I was like I have some stories I've been trying to write for a long time, and it's just that I ran across a quote, and I forget who said it. That there are some stories you can't write yet, but you can't don't get rid of them. It just means you can't write them right now. You're
Hmm.
not in the place where you can write them correctly, like they need to be written. Those stories want you to write them, but you have to get to a point in your life where, okay, now you can write the story. Now you can approach the story and it can tell you and you can write down what it's telling you.
That makes
And
sense.
that's sort of how I
Right.
look at it. These things are a snapshot in time of not just the characters in the story, but me as an author.
Hmm.
I hear what you're saying, and I do believe that you've put it out there. It's out there. You need to move on. So
Right.
I'm a big believer in you need progress, and if you're constantly finding little things to fix, that's going backwards, not forwards.
I
Eh,
like both your views. It's funny because I'm thinking that Kummer needs to take my seat. I need to be in the middle because you're both here and here, and I feel like I'm right in the middle with you two. So I totally back both. I see validity with both. For me, I'm kind of this mesh of I I publish, but It's like when you guys talk about, both of you guys are educated, right? Did you both go to college?
Yes,
mhm.
I
I
did.
see. I'm a high school graduate. I had 2 full ride scholarships and I didn't go because I graduated at 15. So I had
Wow.
4.0. I had like 28 credits towards college, and I'm like, I just barely made it through high school. And you think I'm gonna go as a kid to college and get beat up away from mom and dad? Oh hell no. So I was like, no. So I became a street artist. I started doing caricatures in the malls in Sacramento. So I was always running from these big fat mall cops with my foldable table and chairs, and got really quick at doing, these caricatures and then hurry and hit people up for $4 each and then run. And I just kind of grew from there. But it's just, I like telling stories. I don't know if I'm doing things right. I've just learned after all these years. And so when people start using terms, I was like, I don't know what the crap you're talking about. I just write. So it's like,
wrong with that?
no, well, wrong or not, it's still happening. I've taken care of a family doing this. So it's like, it still works, right? So,
yeah.
But the funny thing is like in publishing, I love deadlines. I'm that's a rush for me. And until like last year, I haven't missed a personal deadline, and mine are, I make goals way too hard for myself. I get my wife, my best friends, my family, everyone gets on my case because I wear myself down, but I have a priority of deadlines. I haven't missed a deadline until last year since 1986. That's quite a, woohoo,
Well, I do think that once you set a schedule, you need to hit it. Otherwise,
yeah,
why are you here?
yes, but
Unless that is what you set up, that I'm just going to publish when I can publish, no problem.
I
But if I
totally
say I'm gonna
agree.
put something out every Tuesday, you're going to
Yeah.
get something Tuesday. It might not be at 5 a.m. like I like, but you're going to get it Tuesday, right?
See, and
Otherwise,
I totally agree. And that's what I did. Like for the first 2 years on Substack, I started and realized, okay, this is way too slow. I want to do, I went from 1 day a week. I'm like, who does this? So I did 2 days a week. Come on. Then I did 3 days a week. Then I did 5 days a week, and I'm like, oh, fine. All right, this is my groove. And then I had those specific times, and I did that for 2 years. And I just never missed for 2 years. And then I did the one thing everyone got on my case for, against me, meaning they were supporting me, not like razzing me, is I decided for the first time in like 32 years, I took December off about 50%. I didn't take any new jobs, and I didn't put any stress on myself for the month of December, meaning all deadlines were off. If I got it done, I got it done, but I just gave it, left it open. I spent most of the month with my wife and my kids. I've never had so much fun in my life. And I'm like, I don't ever want to work in December again, because that's the 1 month out of the year that all my kids get time off. So I got to spend it with all my kids and my grandkids. I was like, what the crap have I been doing all this time? So now I work ahead and I plan things. So December's all my readers will still get stuff in December, but I'm like doing it now, like scheduling it for December. So I have it all off.
I thought you handled it great. And you warned everybody, and you were still very present. So, I mean, it's not like you really were totally gone.
Yeah.
So there's right ways to do it. So, and I agree that you don't want to be rushed into publishing.
Yeah.
So you got to worry about your own mental health, because deadlines are great because we want to see progress,
right?
But you also don't want to make yourself nuts, because then you're
at least no more than normal, right? Because that's me.
So if when it comes to writing, then how much are you guys outlining? I mean, to get it right the first time, you've got to actually
people outline.
I have to start with something to throw away.
Yeah.
I've never heard that phrase. You have to start with something to throw away? Oh my heck.
You just don't think of it that way.
I don't really think of it as an outline. I'll write down, I'll do a premise, and then I'll do, okay, here's this broad sweeping premise that sounds really lovely. And then I'll do something a little bit tighter. Okay, what's the, something, there's like a little one sentence, characters doing this, going to here, going to do this, get in trouble here. And then I'll kind of write down who is actually going to suffer the problem, and then who are they taking along with them? Because you shouldn't go alone when you're going to have a problem. So
hopefully us.
You got to have someone to talk about with the problem,
right? You got to have someone to
who is the problem.
Yeah,
someone to go, dang, this is bad.
And then I just sort of write, not really an outline. I just kind of go, okay, well, chapter 1, I like doing opening gambits because it just kind of gives me momentum. So I always do an opening gambit. And then after that, I'll go, okay, what's the real problem? Let's just kind of do, here's sort of what's going on. And it's sort of this loose sort of structure, like maybe a paragraph. And then at the end, I'll do like a bracket and go, all right, maybe blow something up. And then next chapter, it's like, okay, do it again. Blow something up again, or hit him again. Let's have somebody bleed, and then maybe next chapter. Okay, I've heard them enough. Let them get some bandages, and then I'll write out a paragraph under that what they're going on while they're getting bandages, and just sort of an outline, sort of not.
So you do like a list of events? Is that what it kind of, because that's what it kind of feels like. So you got like just events, and then you can kind of massage that to get more of an outline, or?
Yeah, well, I do kind of a list of events and what's kind of going on, with a little bit of just notes to myself of basically this event, this event, this event. They uncovered a rock and found this, and things like that. And then I go, okay. And then I'll try and figure out how I want the chapter to end. And as I go, somewhere about the third or fourth chapter, I'll go, I know how I want this to end. Then I'll abruptly go write the ending. This is where I want it to go. And then I'll look back at where I started. Okay, now I know where I start. Now I know where I'm going. I kind of know how I started off and kind of started down the road driving the car. At that point, I'm like, I'll do a little bit of outline, but mostly it's just I'm going to drive from point A to point B now that I know where I'm going.
It's like tentpole scenes. Like talking about that.
Like what?
Completely tentpole scenes that half the time.
Scenes, the big points you want, and then you write in to connect them.
Oh,
and half the time I'll throw those away.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'll write them down.
That's really like it's like your through line, the through story.
Yeah.
Which I think is important to know. You know where the path that you're going down, and then you have an interesting ending that makes us want to keep reading. That is so important, I think, for serial writing and maybe even chapter writing. But it's a good way to do it, and that is outlining. Outlining doesn't have to be number 1 ABC, number 2. It doesn't have to be like that.
Well, how do you do it, Anne?
I mean, those tentpole scenes, I'll set them on fire halfway through. I
But you still know where you're going. I think you do a little bit like me. You're playing a game with yourself. Outlining in your head, and you're sort of like throwing, you need, even though you're writing adventure, I'm writing mystery, it still has these elements that you have to put in there. And I throw them all out. I like to write mysteries not knowing who the bad guy is, although I have an idea, but I'm open to suggestions. And then every time I introduce a person, I try to make that suspect could have done it, So you really want them to be believable as the bad guy. And then eventually I have to step back and go, okay, who really did it? So I outline throughout, and I reevaluate what I've done, which is why with a mystery, it's harder to serialize because you kind of need to know. I have multiple things going, but the one I'm doing now, the Fit Girls, I really wish I had plotted it a little bit more before I started serializing it. It'll definitely have to get some rewrite when it becomes a book, because I feel like to me, it's too slow. That's something else that I wanted to ask you guys about. I think pace is really important, and I'm not fond of stories, and neither of you do this. So I'm not talking about you, but I'm not fond of stories that just sort of keep dragging out this thing that's going to happen. I'm like, let it happen, and let's go there and see where then it takes us. So I do that with serializing it, and then I'm like, oh boy, I might have written this better if I had planned it out a little bit more.
Pacing is so important. I tend to go, when I get into a chapter, I'll go like, okay, and I approach the chapter like a little self-contained mini story. I know what I want to hit in the chapter. Like my first draft is garbage, law of the universe. But by that time, I'm kind of, okay, I know what I want to put in here. And then I'll go, okay, where am I starting? Where am I going to end? And I'll just treat it. Then I'll kind of get more into some a little more in-depth outlining when I'm in a chapter, because now I want to make sure I get everything just right. And I do a lot of going back, because I'll write with my stories. I am like probably mentally incapable of staying within a single genre. I think it's just
my brother.
I'm like damaged in some way. I just can't do it.
No, don't get too rough on your. I'll have to defend you. Don't do that.
We support multiple genres. It's fun.
I mean, I can't do it. It's like, if this little genre tab, and I'm like, well, how many characters can I put in? And did you pack a lunch? I got a lot to put. I mean,
I think more of us are related to Terry Pratchett than we realize. That's all I say.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, just mine are not. You know, you can't just say, "Oh, he writes fantasy." Well, I start there.
Yeah.
I don't end there.
Yeah. But that's what
Same
makes
with
it fun,
mystery,
though.
and I think Jaime is also. I mean,
I'm in science fiction right now. It's the same storyline, but now you're with the gnomes. It's all high tech. You got Wendell. It's complete fantasy, heavy fantasy, but he just got rescued, you know, and now he's entering the trench wars competition. That's all science fiction. And then we
Well, if
got
you look at
mystery and we got horror. We got all sorts of
yeah.
Well, I mean, did you guys notice when you look through? I mean, I know Jaime has freely admitted he's waiting for the ebook, but on Dark Device, and did you catch what genre is really the base genre?
Well, I've always felt it was an adventure. You know, it's Indiana Jones to me, but it's not really. It's pirates. It's I
It's
don't,
Dark
what do you
Device,
call it?
the one with Wind Tracer. That is post-apocalyptic.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is, but it's not our world.
Is it?
I'm
Is it?
so bad at
Oh, well,
figuring out
see, that's the thing is
genres.
I jumped into that story, and I think I maybe I need to go back and read the beginning. Like, when I came into Substack, you were already well into that, and I just said, you know, "I just gonna start reading it," which I will tell you, it worked. You give enough of a recap that I could just jump in and go, "Okay, they're on an adventure. I want this ride."
Now, yes, that's true. It is an adventure, and it is fantasy. It is fantasy, high adventure.
That's all. Okay. Well,
You know, that's true,
like
but it is a
dystopian.
post-apocalyptic setting. You know,
Hmm.
Hoist the Colors is a post-apocalyptic setting, but it's
Yeah, though that's my pirate one.
yeah, that's the pirate one, and it's definitely post-apocalyptic. But I like taking a genre and going, okay, what's everybody else done? All right, let's don't do that.
Then spin it on its head, huh?
Yeah, turn it right
Well,
on
I
its head.
like it. I like it. I think it's nice for the reader because whatever you are drawn to, that element could be there in what you're writing because you are in more than one genre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so but yeah, the pacing on those is critical because if you don't like if you have like what I've been writing, you have to keep it kind of moving. It has to move. It has to feel really quick and brisk. And then if you do a fight scene or an action, it has to be like so fast. You're going to be panting for air when you're done.
Well, see, this is what I wanted to ask. So, you know, writers bring up about the importance, and we're talking about the importance of pacing, and that's not, again, that's a term that I'm like, I don't know. How do you figure that out? How do you figure out that something is the right pace? Like for me, we talked about, you know, okay, so you got plotters, you got pantsers, and then I've had conversations with so many people, and 100% of the time they said, no, you're a plantster. Did I say that right? The plotter and I just had that mix because I have like Kummer was saying,
Oh, you're both?
I'm both. I'm literally right in the middle. I can't relate to either one because I do like what Kummer's saying. See, for me, I start every single story, whether it's the novels, whether it's a series, whether it's a short story, I always start with the end. The absolute end. What do I want you to experience and walk away from? And then I work backwards. It's kind of the same thing.
Outline.
I know. Well, yes and no. It's an event, so I designed the key event that we're building up to. Then what I do is I fill in the only outline thing that I actually experience is like what Kummer's talking. I make lists of events that have to happen in there, and then what I do is I dump buttloads after shiploads of events and things that do pertain to everything, but also have fingers going everywhere outside the story, but everything's connected to it. And then I go, I wonder if I can get a wholesale deal on red herrings this week. And then plug. And then I actually ask my characters, so how would this work out? Oh, that's right. You wouldn't do this, but you would do this. Oh, naughty child. And then we just put it all together and then we go for our drive. Yeah, that's how I do it. But on publishing, I try to do the best I can because I've spent a lot of money on editors and every single one has let me down. Then you got software, and software's not perfect. I still use Pro Writing Aid. I use it all the time.
I use
And
Grammarly.
yeah, and Grammarly. Okay, I used that for a while until I just got a lifetime deal on the Pro Writing Aid, and it's worked well and a lot less errors. But there's still stuff. No matter what, there's still stuff. I mean, I have my wall of fame shame in my house where I have books that I've bought from New York Times, best-selling writers and all
I
that.
have them.
And when I find the error, there's a little red circle around it. And it's just like, I don't care. I always ask two questions. So did the error, whatever it is, did it pull you out of the story? Well, no. Did you like the story? Oh, yes. And then I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I'm not going to do something about it unless it's major, which you both agree. If it's something big, we want to fix it, right? But I agree with Kummer too. It's just, that's where I am. And I have the advantage, that depression in 2022 where I took 13 novels and unpublished everything. And now I'm rewriting everything from the beginning. I know it was, and that was my income. That was I unpublished everything I had ever done. And then 72 hours later, when I had you don't ever solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution. Not wise. So I looked at it and went, what am I going to do? I spent a year in depression. That's when I faded away from World Anvil for a while because I just didn't know what the heck I was doing. Then I found Substack and went, wait. Well, I started as comic books, had novels, unpublished those. The real story that I always wanted to, I made compromises. Why did I make compromises? Wait, I'm at ground zero. I can combine everything and do everything the way that I always wanted to do it. And now I can publish weekly and write all the time and do it live and still take care of my family. Oh, I'm in. So that's where we're at right now. So I'm like, this is just fantastic. And I have some of my biggest fans that have read and bought all of my previous novels are now my financial supporters on Substack. And they have flat out told me my first book, Choices, which is actually the first 3 novels, gigantic novels of my original series, are all in the first book. And my number one fan approached me and said, this is so much better. I was like, but I thought those were they were. This is so much better. I like it from Wendell's first person view. So I get why Kummer's like, hey, let's do it in first person. I hadn't done that. Well, I didn't. Well, Hoban had done that, but yeah. So I like being here because I get to hang out with you guys and we all have friends that are writers and I've never had this kind of support and I'm with my people. I have a people. That's what I was like. Wow.
We are your people.
Yes.
I agree. Substack is great. I mean, you get a lot of talk about how, a lot of people are talking about stats now. And when you look into it, they're actually making money. So I don't know what they're complaining about.
Yeah.
But, okay, go. There was one guy that I recently, and bless him, he's very successful. And he was complaining how he got rid of his website and everything to come to Substack and just do this. And it didn't fill the void. I mean, they weren't carrying the water up the hill for him. And I'm like, when did Substack say they would do that? Right. You do all the things as a writer. You need to do it all. Why would you just say Substack's going to be the answer?
I agree.
You got a writer website. Keep the writer website. Substack is for something else. I mean,
it's a tool. It's one of the tools, and it's very good tool.
Yeah, but it's fun.
I mean, if anything, at the bare minimum, it's a great motivational tool to get you to finish your story.
Right. Well, I think there's so many people coming in now that are established writers. They're big, some big names. And part of me is like, I didn't want them to come here. But you've said this before, Jaime. But
I don't give a crap that they show up.
I know.
They're bringing us readers. They can't satisfy everyone all the time. So it's like, whatever.
I'm not against it, but I don't really want to read them. I want to find untapped talent, and there's so much of it here.
That right there. I agree with you 110%. That is what it is. It's I like being part of the community. It's like, okay, so, what's his name? I mentioned his name and one of the members of my community has just lost her stuff. She's like, he is such an ass. I was like, What are you saying? Have you watched his live? What a butthead. I was like, oh my gosh. So why are you feeling that? And she's like, why do we care that he's here? He's like, I finally get to say things I've always wanted to say, and I don't have to worry about my publicist. That's probably why you've got a publicist, you ass. And it's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so you get these famous people. It's like they sell millions of books or tens of thousands, whatever. And the thing is that you and I, the three of us, we're not going to go have a private conversation with him or chat with him.
No.
So I don't know what they're here for, whatever. I want to be with our communities and mix. I want all of my community, my small, well-oiled, very active community, to know you two and all of my friends. So I want to mix and match and grow. Frankly, I want to take over Substack. I think fiction should rule the world. So that's what we're going to do. But with these big writers, it's like, I don't give a crap. Still going to go buy and read all their books, but I'm going to go buy it at Walmart or off Amazon. I don't give a crap that they're here. I have other things I got this to do, So I'm with you. I like the personal touch. None of that's personal.
What we're publishing is much more refined than what they're publishing, because they have people where they're doing their professional publishing, and they're like it, and what you're saying sort of backs that up. They're coming here and they're just being themselves, and they're just going live and talking. Yeah. So they're not curating what they're saying. They're not thinking about it. They're just being real, and there's nothing wrong with that. But so what we're doing is way different, and it's at a very different level. But I like our bubble.
I do too.
We're in the fiction bubble. There's a much bigger fiction out there, and I slowly finding it. But I like our bubble, and
I do. I so do too. And I like that people are doing these kinds of things. We're being found, and more people. And yeah. Well, it
makes you so happy. You guys you get that writer. They get that note that someone's like, oh my God, I found you. I love you. And I'm reading you from day one of what you published.
I had that last week. Oh my gosh. And I got the notification. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I've got my oxygen mask on my freaking head. I'm in the dark light in my bed. I go like this. And all of a sudden I start my wife's like, are you okay? Cause I'm breathing heavy in it. Cause I got, a CPAP machine forcing oxygen, and I can't, and I'm excited. And I was like, this doesn't work. I'm trying to take the thing off my head. I'm like, oh my gosh. She says, what's wrong? Because anything happened in the middle of the night in my family, someone's had an accident or something. It's just horrible. It's like, no, this is all good. It's all good. She's like, what? It's 11 o'clock at night. I was like, someone in India loves me.
It matters.
She's gonna see this. She's gonna see this video too. And she's like, where have you been? And all this. And she writes this. I was like, oh, that just made my month.
Well, that's what Substack brings us that I'm saying I never had before, unless you go to some place and sit at a table and try to sell something, but a book, but that's not the same.
I had it back in,
and it's hit or miss sometimes too.
I had it back in 2000, 2005 and 2006, back when, do you guys remember the old, what were they called? The PHP BB boards, the message boards.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my own very first Wanted Hero website, and I built it myself. Someone wanted to charge me 20 grand to build a website. And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, who's going to do it? You? I was like, are library books available? He says, yeah. I says, then screw you. Yeah, I'm going to go do it myself. Anyway, so I built my site, and then I plugged in that PHP BB board. And I think within the first 18 months, we had like 29,000 registered users, and 15,000 of them were weekly users. And I had people saying, and that's when I was doing comic books, only comic books. And that's a totally different thing. That does not, I thought that would that would translate and crossover. No, it's its own animal. And I can't, with my hands, I can't do the comic book stuff anymore.
What if you did just shorter pieces? I've found, oh gosh, it's like Peas and something. I should go look. They are so funny, and they're posting all they're like 4 panels.
Yeah.
And they post them. Have you seen that one?
No. And your comic strips. Yeah. So I was doing comic books, but I was up at 2 o'clock this morning, wandering in here going, I really want to do a comic strip. on this and include that just for fun. Get enough of them. Because my humor, do you guys ever, I haven't seen the comic strip in ages. My favorite comic strip growing up was Bloom County. I like Peanuts,
Yeah.
Bloom County, and Calvin and Hobbes were my three. But all the political stuff, and that all mostly went that. I just loved they were so nuts. Just Opus and all them were so freaking, Bill the Cat, going on the rock tour. I was like, I want to hang out with Bill the Cat. You know, it's just, I mean, that's back in the day with what, Beavis and Butthead. for all the kids out there, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, I think I am gonna.
The one I was mentioning is called War and Peas.
War and Peas. I'm gonna write that down.
They're on Substack, and everyone should read them. Honestly, laugh out loud. You'd like it. But what I love it too, and talk about a different way to do it. This is something they had a history of posting for a long time, and they're now using it with commentary about what made them write it.
Oh, I love that.
I love it. And that's even more, makes it even more funnier because it's based on a lot of customer service issues. The characters are in some, like, I don't know, like a Walmart or something.
I would love that. Oh my goodness.
You'd love it. It's so funny. So yeah.
What are the characters? Are they all human? Are they animals? What are they?
Yeah, no, they're humans.
Okay.
They're humans and they're like, so what I first noticed, and you would love this too, is that they're at like maybe there's a break room and there'll be a sign on the wall, and in every panel the sign changes. Quirky thing. And then they also describe what was going on, why they were actually working that kind of job, and their release was to make this cartoon. So brilliant.
That's awesome.
So, but you should look at that because the format of that is very doable.
I am going to do that.
Even if you've been doing graphic novels, I just feel your talent would lead you to be able to do these 4-panel jokes.
Oh, I started my whole career when I was a teenager, started when I was 14, was comic strips. In fact, the very first 2 books that were ever published, I didn't publish them. My dad believed in me so much. He went and raised money, and we published like $250,000 of my comic strip of my books, my first 2 books. They were called Chester. It was a rat. It's we had some. I had some family and friends that got involved and invested with it, and because I was just a kid and invested with it, and it didn't work out the way that everyone wanted, and so that pressure of, will it failed and you know it's your fault type thing, and I'm like, I walked away. I took the IP and I just dumped it and said, I don't ever want to. I have all the original drawings and everything, but
you find a life in the same format. Never know.
Oh, yes. Well, and I've done so many comics. I've done comic strips for newspapers and for magazines and things like that. That's why I was up last night, was I was thinking about doing a comic strip, not a comic book. I couldn't handle comic book, but comic strip. Because I've got notes. Kummer knows I have so many notes about this story in this world, but I've got some notes that I've never told anyone about. And that is Chuck raising Dax from a baby.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's a lot of fatherly stuff in there because I used to be a daddy blogger for like a decade. And so.
Well, and you are a father.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You know a little bit of what you're talking about.
13 kids. All boys but 9. Yes.
Just think about it. Do it, man.
So that's what I was literally just sitting here, right here, staring at the screen going, I wonder if I should get those ideas out and do that. I'll have to do a bunch of them to test before, because all of the strength in my arthritic hands are all for, drawing my current project. But yeah, there's a happiness with doing comic strips. I don't know if either of you have ever tried doing that. Even writing the jokes.
I've tried. I'm doing
so
I'm
fun.
trying to do my animation. I guess that's in the same vein. I'm taking my conversations coffee and I'm trying to animate some of that.
Oh, that will be so much fun.
We're trying. There's so many of them. I've done those every day since I came to Substack.
So how many
and
have
you
got?
Always based on whatever.
I see like 3 or 4 a day. How many are you doing?
Well, I do one a day. So if you're seeing, you're just like, they must.
I'm catching up.
People are restacking them.
I was gonna say I've only found one. I've tried. It's been a goal for me. I try to find one that Kummer has not hit first. I know I get your stats. I know. I have only done it once. Only
I'm gonna
once.
have to create a K-cup eventually too, Kummer. That'll have to be. He'll have to come on in the end. I didn't even think of that. You are part of it.
I love those. Those are highlights for me.
I have the rights to what you wrote, so I might have to work a deal.
Oh no, it's yours. It's yours. No, well,
no, what Kummer writes.
Oh yeah.
Kummer writes.
I know, adds to it. It's so much fun. Yeah, anyone who watches this, go look for Conversations with Coffee. That's just in my feed. I get it whenever it goes out.
It's in notes. It's not. It's. I don't know. I don't even have a.
You should probably tag them. Can you tag them? You can't tag a note, can you?
Tags don't work.
I don't believe them. I don't believe Hamish. I don't believe anybody. And the reason why is because I read an article. I did put tags, specific tags. And I worked it out, and I looked up, because I don't pay attention to those things. I go and I play in my own little corner, and I invite people, and I work my relationships, and people come. And it's always been a drip my whole life. It's always been a drip. But I went and I read, and I said, okay, what categories am I in? What am I considered? I put those tags in there. And then I also put tags of things like, if I was looking to read some of these things, what would I use the tag? Because I do use tags to look up other people's stuff. I'm like, okay, that makes sense then. So how would I find my stuff? I put like 5 different tags in there. I kid you not, I had a 100% increase in traffic. You know how you look at the data and it says, here's your average and here's how many you got?
Yeah, they don't do that with notes, do they? Or
no, they don't with notes. But I was doing this in like my articles, like my coffee, the morning coffee and stuff. So I do the articles I'm doing on Wednesday that I'm doing, because I want to explain to people how important fiction is. It's not just for us and for entertainment. It's good for our kids. It's good. My wife she's finishing up the very last part of the last book of the Wing Feather series, reading it to Roman and Ruby. Roman, who's 10, and Ruby, who's 5. And the engagement, oh my gosh, those kids, it's so fun to go out and have dinner and sit there while Kathy's on the couch and she's reading to our 2 youngest kids. And Kathy's doing it. I will read for like 20 minutes or half an hour. She's reading for hours, and they're into it. And she's been doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And they're loving it.
Yeah, for your kids.
Yeah, so I've been writing these articles and doing research, which I've never done before. So in these articles that it has like all these scientific, psychology references, please nobody make the mistake that I'm smart. Nope. I'm just finding this stuff out I wrote all this crap. And then said, I want something that's actually will back what my opinion. So I go and I research and see, is anyone out there think that I'm right? That's my premise. And I go out there and I found people that actually think that my concept is right. So I put these studies in there. No, I haven't read all the studies. I only read enough to know, okay, it backs my point, and then I put it in the article. So you can do the research because I don't give a crap. This is my opinion.
That's hysterical.
But this is
fun. I do a lot of research too, but not to back up my point of view. But I guess maybe I don't have a point of view, but I like that.
This is why I'm broken. It's like, nope, this is my opinion. I'm using my real life experience saying, okay, I've got this. This is why I do what I do. So what I do. Now, does anyone feel that I'm right out there that actually has like some credibility? Oh, wait, there's a few people. So that's who I'm putting in my articles. So I have nothing to back it up. I did not do it based on the research or anything. I was just like, I write the article and then I do that after the fact and plug it in. So now anyone who watches this video knows my secret on all these articles. You can totally
it all away.
You can throw it all away. I don't care, but it does back the point of development of a child's mind, their ability to cope with things, their imagination, their ability to communicate with other people. It's all important. And I knew that in watching my own kids, but I couldn't actually explain that to you. And these college studies and stuff, they do. They actually explain it. I was like, I was so good.
You found the research to back yourself up. So that's
yeah. I mean, and sometimes there's a few of them that you go, Jamie, that's kind of a stretch. I'm like, yeah, but it's going in the article anyway. So
nothing wrong with that. You might launch a new research topic for
there
somebody.
You go. But it's all about fiction and why we should have more fiction, not less. And those are on Wednesdays. I think I've got 12 that I've mapped out, and I've written 3. So anyway, and then when I'm done, I'm actually going to take all those and I'm going to put it in a book for parents and say, this is why you should not give up on fiction with your kids. It'll help them, whether they're, extroverts or introverts, or it helps. So it also bridges the gap.
Man, just with how many kids you've raised. So
yeah.
And grandkids, and
we're gonna have number 31 soon.
31.
Yeah, number 31. She's on bed rest now, but 31. Yeah.
So I would take your advice over almost a research.
You know what's funny? You're very kind. You know what I've learned? No one gives a crap what I have to say. You know whose advice they do? No. You might agree with me on this. They don't give a crap what I have to say. You know whose advice they do want? They want my wife's.
Wife.
But I agree. But I agree.
They're important too.
Well, right? No, I get that. I'm not trying to knock that, but it's like, if you got a couple, who do you want to listen to when it comes with the kids? Do you really want to listen to the dad, or you want to listen to the mom? Now, where I'm a little bit different though, is I've always worked from home. So I have an active role in raising the kids and interacting with the kids as well. But my wife, Kathy Lynn's, she's gone, so she can't hear this and she can't stop me anyway. I tell people, I kiss the water she walks on. She hates when I say that, but I adore my wife. She's such a good mom, and she's the dearest person I've ever met in my life. She's just amazing. So my kids have that kind of an advantage.
Isn't your opinion a lot of her opinion too? I mean, you guys have to have a.
We are very united on. Yeah.
So I would think we're getting her when we get your opinion about child raising.
Yeah, we're definitely on the same page. Yeah, we're united in that. So same values, same. Yeah, I think that's why we clicked when we met. Other than she was just dang cute and I wasn't going away. Anyway, so, but yeah, so
how much romance do you add to your stories? What do we feel?
it's coming. Yeah. It's coming.
I mean, just like I like the connections, and Kummer does this really well because he has teams, in his adventures. I like the interaction of emotions. It doesn't have to be romance, but just that friendship and that support and those relationships. To me, that is a basis for a lot of writing.
I totally agree.
Not there, the through line doesn't matter if I don't really care about the characters.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, I like to have teams of like 2 to 3 characters that I'm focusing on. And then I'll have one come in maybe in the middle of the story and then kind of go back out and be a supporting character. And it's a true supporting character that kind of could be promoted to more main character level. But I like to do multiple characters for that very same reason. Like, the found family, like a couple of people that are friends, but they're effectively brother and sister,
Yeah.
Or you may have a couple of characters that, as you're reading, you may pick up they got a little more in their past there that they actually may be a lot more than friends. It's just it has nothing to do with the story. So it's not really going to come out, and the romance it would get in the way. So it's just going to be very background. But I like using that as to support the characters and support why they're willing to talk to each other, or why they're willing to, 2 characters when they have an alone time talk about something pretty serious.
I love things like that. I really do. I love that.
I actually touched on that a little bit in my Death Whispers, one of the recent chapters. I had 2 of the characters have a pretty slight concept talk there. Of one of them just is like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. And it was like, I need you to do this. And just that kind of moment is really good to do.
It's
So
real. I mean, that's where we are putting ourselves and reality into this fiction. I love those moments in any story because I'm like, oh dang. I read something I read today was that way that this, and it was actually a nonfiction, but the guy was so telling us about his point of view or where he's coming from. It was emotional to read. And anytime you can do that in your writing, you're succeeding in my book.
Oh, I totally agree. That's what makes it relatable and makes it valuable for me on nonfiction. I will say this. Yeah, I want to do more promotion. Out of anyone that writes nonfiction, I cannot recommend Christy Allers, the Wellness Chisme. She is probably the most phenomenal. Everything she writes, you start reading it within the first paragraph, and it's like someone's reaching in and just tugging on my heart. I'm like, how the flip do you do that? Every single time. And I'm like, that is, I, I, I actually should ask her, why aren't you writing fiction too? Because she's got a natural talent that's just off the charts. So I love
Yeah, I
that.
know
But it's,
because you posted her. See, that's a great reason why you repost people. And
yeah.
I agree with you. But don't derail her. She's got her. She's in a good lane, and
Oh,
she's.
no, I get that. I
Don't
get
say,
that.
"Hey, start writing fiction." She will
Well,
lose her nonfiction.
oh no, that's her. Yeah, I know. I've gotten to know her over the past, what, 7, 8 months. And no, that's her world and that's her business. That's just what she does, her talents. But she's also really, I mean, I met her because her 2 kids read my stuff. So I met her as the mom. So she's one of my supporters, on Life of Fiction. And getting to know her kids are so freaking awesome. Anyway, but just as a neat mom, and then she's given some of the best feedback we're developing the role playing game ideas together, and some of the feedback she's got. I was like, I've been playing since I'm 8. I'm like, crap, I've never thought of it that way. This is really, really good. Would you? And then she says, well, when I played Dungeons and Dragons, wait, what? You role playing? Yeah, as a kid. I was like, have you experienced that, Kummer? You find out this is more. I thought I was like the nerd, like off in another universe. It is far more, or was far more common. It's like everyone's coming out of the closet now.
Yeah.
It's cool to play D&D.
It is. Cool. Oh my gosh.
It's cool. It's been cool. People have been playing it for a long time.
Yes.
It's just now it's cool. So people can go, well, I did that too. And
yes. That's what it is.
Come out and say, I did it too. It's fun.
The original players are just getting old enough now. They don't care.
Oh, yeah, that would be I don't care, Cupcake.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, well, gosh, we talked for the whole hour. We didn't even go over one question. You have more time?
All of mine. I slid them in.
Oh, you doggone it. Okay.
I would miss out on some facts from you guys.
Like everyone, I have my notes. I always have my notes. Okay. Well,
I kind of slid in my answers a little bit.
All right, you turkeys. Well, let's at least do the. Well, let me read the bonus one at least. Let me see.
Seriously, guys.
No, what? No, I don't think that we answered this one. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, we didn't answer any of yours, I don't think. Well, we talked about our writing process a little.
We did. We did a lot. Okay.
And tension and how to, what makes a character, in the ensembles, we kind of talked around them.
Okay, so let me read this out loud, and then you can both vote and see if we answered it or not. Okay, so it says both, and then because I wanted to focus on you turds, I wanted to focus on both of you anyway, because I'm your fan. Okay, so it says both you create tension in vastly different ways, and through what's hidden, and Kummer through what's unleashed. How do you each use suspense to keep your readers turning the page? There you go. I don't think we quite answered that, did we?
How do you do it, Kummer?
Mostly I'll start the chapter with either a question or a concept that the characters are having to deal with. They're going somewhere, they're looking at something they got to deal with, a problem that's personally happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to make sure that I play some mind games a little bit with how I have the characters just chew on it. But I always, at the very end, to keep them turning to the next page, I'll end the chapter with either a question or an implied question. And then I refuse to answer it in that chapter.
And you throw it to the next chapter. That's a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does matter, and you're saying this too, is that you need to know where you're taking the reader, and you're trying to say it and show it in as many ways as you can without actually saying it on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
So it does sort of go back to outlining. I hate to tell you this. However it's almost like, don't call it outlining, because I think everybody does this. I always say, I know what I can write if I know what I'm writing.
Yeah.
So the suspense or all that is because and just like you guys, I'm a fan of stuff. So I'm writing it in a way where I'm directing your eye and then I shift it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm trying to make you follow the story. I'm not trying to trick anybody, but I am trying to slightly mislead you so I can give you a surprise or some reveal, set up, payoff.
Yeah, that's all I do. And when I end it, and sometimes I won't answer the question the next chapter, I may set up the question or have something end and it's an implicit question. If you read it and suddenly the reader will think of the question that I'm not actually putting on the page. And then the next chapter, I'm a big fan of having the small time jump, like the Indiana Jones, you see the line on the map and then he's over here.
Yeah.
I'll do that. And it's like, I haven't really answered the question, but I'll put like a one-off of the character still sort of thinking about the question, or a hint that, well, you're not going to get the answer right yet.
And then you have a callback. I like that. That's anticipation, suspense for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do that.
That was awesome. I love hanging out with you two. Would you both be willing to agree? I'd like to do this on a semi-regular basis with you two. I love hanging out with you two.
Sure.
So was this comfortable? Was this a good atmosphere, a good thing?
Very comfy.
Good.
I like it. It's pretty room too, by the way. I like this room.
I have other rooms that I will take you to, but yeah.
All right.
But this is the studio that I wanted to create, to do that. The sign above us always changes according to what we're talking about. And what should we talk about next time?
That's a good thing. We should throw that out there, see what people want us to talk about.
Oh, okay. We'll do that. I'll post this and I'll do a poll. What options? I'll write it down. What options should we get? I'm really curious. You know what I've never had a conversation with another writer about ever? I've never talked about villains. Ever.
Ooh.
I love that reaction. Yeah. That was in stereo.
I think villains, they say your protagonist is only as good as your antagonist, so I'm all for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's just do that.
That.
We'll just talk about villains.
Phrase, villains act, heroes react. That's it.
Ooh.
There you go. That's very true.
All right. Like
you answered your own question. Bravo, James. You're so smart. There's that Rhodes Scholar coming through.
No, it's just talking's genetic. That's all it is. You do enough, you go, oh, look, there's a word.
Short sell it. You're a genius, and you can hide it as much as you want.
No, I just love people, and I love spending time with my friends. I'm so happy to have seen you both. Thank you for spending the time with me.
Same here. We'll do it again soon.
Okay.
We should do it again soon.
Okay. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.